With most resistance swimming strategies, swimmers are towing or pulling something as they move through the water. When you put resistance directly on the limbs, it changes everything in terms of the fitness that they can develop and the skills they can develop. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. Whether using a stretch cord, a parachute, or a power tower, swimmers are being resisted as they try to move forward down the pool. That changes how they swim and it forces them to create more propulsion to move themselves forward. It's a really powerful strategy for helping them improve their skills and their fitness. Helping swimmers improve as much as possible is all about having options and being able to use the most effective option to solve the problem at hand. By putting resistance directly on the limbs, it gives us access to a whole new set of solutions that can be used to challenge swimmers' skills and improve their fitness. Drag socks are one of the most effective ways to get that done, and in this video, we'll take a look at why they're effective, what they can accomplish, and how to use them optimally. Let's check it out. Resistance training in the water is so valuable because it creates overload. That allows swimmers to learn more effective skills because it's more difficult to create propulsion and it's more difficult to stay aligned. That increases the challenge, so swimmers have to learn to execute those skills at higher and higher levels in order to accomplish whatever the goals of the set are. And certainly, resistance increases the physical demand as well. It's harder to move forward when you're swimming against resistance. That means stronger muscles, that means better fitness, that means better energy supply. And those effects all add up to the ability to perform at a higher level. And so by overloading swimmers, creating a challenge that can't exist without the resistance, we enable swimmers to improve more. However, most types of resistance are applied to the body as a whole. Stretch cords, parachutes, power towers, they all resist forward movement and swimmers have to use their whole body to overcome that resistance. So the load is on the body, not directly on the limbs. So while the limbs will have to work harder in order to move the body forward, they don't necessarily have to work harder themselves to be moved through the water. The limbs themselves are not resisted, it's the body that's resisted. So if we can find ways to resist the movement of the limbs, we'll have more opportunities to help overload swimmers' skills and improve their fitness. One of the most effective strategies here is drag socks. And drag socks is the commercial brand. There are other options that are available. It tends to be one of the more common ones. Just like Band-Aids have become a universal name, it's the one I tend to use for drag socks. There's an image of them below, and basically it's an elastic band that can be used to secure the limb, and there's a mesh bag that travels out past the limb, or it can even be on the limb, and that's going to create more resistance on the limb itself as the swimmer tries to move the limb through the water. And so it's much more difficult when there's all this extra drag, there's this extra mesh. It's harder to move the arm through the water, it's harder to move the leg through the water. And so when they're placed on the leg with flutter kicking, with butterfly or dolphin kicking, and with underwaters, it encourages a whip-like action. If swimmers just move their legs up and down, the mesh just gets all tangled up and swimmers don't go anywhere. But if they can learn to wave and whip the kick, the mesh actually helps them move forward. And so while it still creates a lot of resistance, if they learn to whip the kick, they're able to move forward more easily. And so it really encourages them to use a more effective kicking action because if swimmers can whip the kick, they're going to be able to kick faster. And then with breaststroke, a lot of swimmers struggle with setting up the kick, with getting the feet turned out. If they don't do that with the drag socks, basically they're going to end up kicking the drag socks back. So they have to be really aggressive with snapping and throwing the feet out. It throws the drag sock out and then they can kick through. And of course, they're still going to be kicking against that resistance, so we can help them build strength and learn to hold those positions as they kick. So when talking about the kick, not only does the resistance improve the strength of the kick, it improves the skill as well. When it comes to the upper body, the socks can be placed on the forearms, and when that happens, it's really effective for helping swimmers feel how they're using their forearms, and it helps create more resistance on the forearm, so swimmers have to be better at not only getting into effective positions, but they have to learn how to apply force in those positions and hold on to those positions. If they drop the elbow, they're going to feel that loss of resistance, and if they hold on to it, they'll be strengthening that skill. And so from a resistance standpoint, it's very effective for helping swimmers learn how to use the whole arm and the upper body. And in backstroke and freestyle especially, when the drag sock is placed on swimmers' wrists, they have to be really aggressive with the recoveries because they have that extra load that's slowing them down out of the recovery And if they don't swim aggressively, the drag sock's going to get caught up as well. So it can be really useful for improving the recovery. Butterfly can be a little bit tough to get both arms happening at the same time, but if done over very short distances by pretty strong swimmers, it can be effective in that respect as well. And when the drag socks are placed up on the forearms, the elbows, the wrists, and in breaststroke, when drag socks are placed on the elbows, the forearms, or the wrist, swimmers have to be really good with being aggressive in recovering, because if they don't, they're going to have a whole lot of resistance. That's going to mess up their timing. And that's going to make it much more difficult to swim effective breaststroke. But if they can be aggressive, then they're going to be able to continue to swim well. And when they take the drag socks off, it's going to be that much easier. So in every respect, it's encouraging swimmers to be more effective with their skills. And when the resistance comes off, they're going to have the strength to not only execute those skills at a higher level, but because they're stronger in those skills, it's easier to maintain those skills at any given level. So we're improving the skill, we're improving the fitness. And again, these are effects that can't be achieved, one, without any sort of resistance, and two, with traditional types of resistance. As with any new tool, especially drag socks, it can be fun to just start using it and trying stuff. However, it's a lot more effective when you have a specific goal. So which limbs are you looking to target? Upper body, lower body? Which skills are you trying to improve? Are you trying to help them create more propulsion? Is it an arm recovery thing? And finally, which type of training do you want to use as well? It's critical to know what you're trying to accomplish, because that allows you to use the drag socks a lot more effectively. It's a different impact depending on how it's used, and the clearer you are about what you want to accomplish, the easier it is to actually accomplish that. And as with all skill development strategies, they work better when combined with other strategies. If you give swimmers performance goals like stroke counts or kick counts or speed, it's going to encourage them to find better and better and better solutions. They also work really well with drills because it encourages swimmers to execute those drills at a higher level. Hand postures can be really effective too. You take away the hand, they're going to have to compensate with that. And so if they're kicking, now they're going to be a lot less effective with their upper body. They're going to have to use their legs more. And if you're trying to help them work on the forearms, you take away the hand, it's going to be even more effective. Training aids can be great too because they put more pressure on the specific area, and you can use that with the drag socks to create an even bigger impact. So again, rather than just using these strategies haphazardly, you want to use them when they enhance the achievement of the goal, the specific goal that you've already created. And that allows you to use the drag socks well, and it allows you to get more out of the set that you've created. And with drag socks in particular, they can create fatigue, so it's really important to keep the quality high. That doesn't mean you can't do more extended sets. That doesn't mean you can't do longer stuff. The big idea is that you need to watch out for the level of execution. Whatever standard you have, make sure swimmers are able to do that, because once they get tired, it can be very hard to continue to figure things out with the drag socks. When they get tired, it can get bad really fast. So just pay attention and make sure they're executing at the level you want, and set up the set so that they can continue to do that throughout the whole set. This set is for underwater kicking. They're going to go 4 rounds through. They're going to start off with 6 times, 10 seconds on, 35 seconds off, vertical kick with drag socks, and they are fast. Number 1 and number 4, they're going to be stationary, so they're kicking without moving. Number 2 and 5, they're going to try to move forwards. Number 3 and 6, they're going to try to move backwards. So we're focusing on symmetry, then we're working the up kick, then we're working the down kick. Then they're going to go 4, 12 and a half. The odds are flipper kick with drag socks on their back. The evens are dead start back to the wall. So we're helping them learn how to hold a lot of water and then make it happen, execute the kick on the evens. Then they're going to finish up with a swim. The first round, they're going to go 100 with 6 fast kicks every wall, and then a 75 with 8 fast kicks, a 50 with 10 fast kicks, and a 25 with 12 fast kicks. The kicks are always fast. The effort level on the swim gets better as they go. They'll start off strong, then they're going to race, and then they're going to go fast, and then they're going to go absolutely blast. So what we're trying to do is really help them feel, help them create and hold a lot of water with the kick. They're going to have to whip the kick with the drag socks, especially with the vertical kick. We're going to give them more practice on the 12 and a half to move them horizontal in the water, and then they're going to apply that with the swim. So a lot of resisted work here in terms of getting them to lock in their skills and develop the strength and power of the kick. This is a breaststroke set, and we're working on the arm recoveries here. So they're going to go 425s with breaststroke and a dolphin kick. They're going to have drag socks on their arms. The first 4 strokes are always head up. They're going to descend those 1 to 4 to fast. So they're going to have to be really aggressive with the arm recoveries because of that added resistance. Then they're going to go 225s regular breaststroke with drag socks on their arms. Those are fast, and they're going to go a 75 at 200 speed. Then they're going to repeat that same basic pattern, but on the second set of 425s, they're going to minimize stroke count and times. They're going to be long and fast rather than descending. The 225 stay the same. The 75 breaststroke, they need to go faster. On the last round, everything's fast. They're trying to go as fast as they can. So we're just working on the arms on those first 425s. They got to get forward. They got to be good with the recovery. The head up allows them to see what they're doing. It allows them to be a little bit more aggressive. Then they're going to see if they can make that happen on the regular 25s, and then they're going to just let it rip on that 75. So really using the drag socks to resist their recoveries to help swimmers get back into line fast, which is a skill that many swimmers struggle with. And if they can't do that, they're going to be creating a lot more resistance, and it's going to mess up their timing. This set is essentially a kick set in which we're trying to help swimmers learn to kick well and then build that kick into their stroke. So they're going to go 825 slaughter kick with drag socks, strong effort, being really good, really consistent with the kick. Then they're going to go 50 freestyle with drag socks, 8 strokes per 25, strong effort. And so the 8 strokes, it's a relatively arbitrary number. The idea is that it's a low stroke count for your swimmers, a very low stroke count. So they're going to have to ride the legs out a little bit. And again, because of the drag socks, they're going to have to work the legs hard to do that. Then they're going to take the drag socks off, go 50 freestyle, no stroke count requirement, and they're just going to let it rip. In the next round, they're going to repeat that same basic pattern, except they're going to drop 225s, and everything is going to be faster. 25s need to be faster, the 50s are going to be faster. And as we go through, we'll drop 25 reps, and the swimmers are trying to go faster as they go through. By the end, they're just letting it rip. So they've got to kick well with the drag socks. They've got to kick hard, and we're helping them learn how to build that kick. And so if swimmers can learn to kick better, they can learn to kick harder, and they can actually make it happen when they swim, and they can repeat that over and over again. They're going to have a kick that helps them swim fast. For more on how to use drag socks to help swimmers improve, check out the video below.